Well, what is the project today? We're in a bathroom. Here's the GFI outlet right here, and the hairdryer plug goes at an angle, and see where the sink faucet is here. You put it that way, this cord's going right into the sink kind of. We want to take that and turn it around that way, and we've got to take that outlet and flip it around, because on the end of this, you see the prongs here? There's this one's shorter, tall, not as tall as this one over here. Okay, that one's bigger right here than this side. Okay, that's because you've got to plug it in. And when you look at an electrical outlet, one side generally is longer than the other side. Did you know that? Just take a look at that and see. That's why we've got to go that way. We can't just flip that around and plug it in, because it's not going to work. Okay, so that is the project, and I've already turned the lights off. I found the electrical breaker in the panel box, and for this outlet, it also turned off the lights in the bathroom. So I've got just a light right here from a lamp, a standing lamp, and I took the shade off to give me enough light, and I ran an extension cord because I thought it would be important for you to see how to get this job done. Now, have I flipped one of these around before? No, I never have, because usually whenever I install one, I install it the right direction. Now for them, because it was going sideways, they had to decide, okay, which way should I run that? Generally, you'll see these electrical outlets up and down in the wall, but see here, they wanted to get it in the backsplash. They decided to do it that way. Now, I'm not quite sure why they did that. Is that code? Usually an electrical outlet like that cannot be this close to the sink, but because it's a GFI, I guess they let it go, because if you get any water there, this will pop out, and when it shorts, it'll pop out right here. Okay, enough of that. Let's get on with the project. So if you want to see how this is done, stick around. Now this project should not take very long. I've just got some wire strippers here. I don't even think I'm going to need these at all. Okay, and I've got a standard screwdriver and a Phillips screwdriver. And that's all I should need to do. In fact, I should only be able to get by with those two. So make sure you have the power off, and I've got the power off. There's a little light here that generally shows, and I made sure I could see that before I flipped breakers. Now I could take a plug, and I could take an outlet or a lamp fixture and plug it in there and make sure, but I know the power is off. Okay, so I'm just going to do this cover plate here, and I'm hoping that the wires are actually long enough inside there so I can take that out and flip it around. That's the goal here. And it looks like I've got two screws here, and they use some extra long screws here because, see, they had to go through this backsplash, which is about an inch thick, and then go in, so they had to use long ones. And it looks like on the back side of this, they ran some electrical wire as shims, but they really didn't need to do that because the ears are sticking out over that, so that was kind of a moot point. I don't know if you can see that yet or not. We'll pull this out. Just be aware of what you're doing. We're basically going to flip this around and see what we got here. Wow, they use some long screws. Yep, it's still in there. There it is. I think I can feel it there now. Can anybody do this? Do you have to be an electrician, certified electrical contractor, in order to flip your electrical outlet around? No, just make sure the power's off. Okay, we're not doing anything special here. I'm hoping that the wires behind here are long enough. Okay, I'll first have to pull this out a little bit. Wow. And they hardly have any length to these wires. I can't really pull it out much further than that. Wow, usually they allow the wires in the back side about 6 inches out of the box, but they've got it tight. And you see on the back side here, they loop some stiff 12 gauge wire, solid wire around there to use as a shim all the way through there back to the box. They didn't run a box extension out here. Now I'm just gonna take this, and I'm not even gonna undo the wires or anything. Okay? That's all I'm gonna do right there. And now I can push that back in. Did you see that? No tricks. That's all you have to do. You don't have to undo any wires or anything. I'm just gonna fish these screws back into the box. Kaboom. That's it. Now I can start screwing this back in. So I didn't undo any wires. I guess I could have checked to see if the wire, that the screws were tight and stuff. I'm not changing anything, not grounding anything differently than what was existing. Everything looked okay, and I'm simply reattaching this all the way down. They could have used a little bit shorter screws, or they could have cut them off, but you know, they go into the box just fine. And all I'm needing here is a standard slotted screwdriver. That's it. I've been meaning to do this for the last week or so. I've had it on my list, and incidentally, when you start getting the little honeydew list of things, put it on your phone under notes and start writing down the different things that you need to do around the house. And when you have time, you can look at the list, you can take care of certain things, okay? Now before I get it tight, I'm gonna look at it, make sure it's going nice and straight, you know. And it looks pretty good right there. Now I can put the cover plate back on there, check it out, and see how it's going to look. You know, ooh. That was the test button, and that I pushed it and it popped in, and I can't reset it right now because the power's off. Okay, so before I finish this, I want to look at this. This side is flush. This side's sticking out a little bit. That tells me I've got to screw it in a little bit further. Okay. That's my pet peeve. I like to make sure the cover plate is fairly flush with that. And I'm going to look at that, and I can stand back. I could measure this with a tape measure, or I can eyeball it and look and see how straight it looks. You know, if anything, it could slightly go up. I mean, ever so little. Okay. And that looks pretty bueno. I can put the little screws back in. When you're doing something on a countertop, that's the tricky part. Because see, you got to get it in through that little screw hole, and it's not going to go in very far because it's going to hit the granite backsplash. And you can only screw it in so far because the back of the screw is hitting the granite. See, and that's kind of pulling this out a little bit, because there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Okay, that looks pretty good. There you go. I'm going to stand back here and look at it now that I've got this tightened up. Because see, before I could move this plate just a little bit, and in fact, it looks like it's dive bombing down to the right ever so little once I tighten everything up. And I'm not going to say, oh, that's good enough. Who's going to mess with it? Who cares? I care. I care because I want to do things right. And it's only going to take a second here. Okay, I'm going to hold that, and I'm going to lift this side up. just a hair. Like that. I can feel it. Okay. Now I can just put that back in. And incidentally, did you see? If you were noticing, I got one of those screws and I dropped it, went down into the sink. And I was lucky it didn't go down into the drain, because I've got the drain, the pop-up is up. When you're doing work like that, you can pull that down, push it down, make sure if you drop anything in there, you don't get a screw dropping down in there. Then that extends your project, doesn't it? You could get it by undoing the P-trap underneath the sink and getting it. You know, I don't want to have to do all that. Okay, that looks better. Okay, so that's it. I'm gonna turn the power on, and I know you're gonna want to see if it's working, and we'll check it out in a minute. Okay, I'm back. I turned the power back on, and right now that light is not on because I have to press the test button. And I'm gonna press that in. Let's see. Oh, I gotta push that side in, okay. Push that side in, one side or the other. The green light is on. I don't know if you can see that, but I can see it. And if you want to test it, there's a test button here. You press the test button and that pops that out like that. And now there's no power there. Now there is power. Okay, I've got the lights back on. I'm going to take this lamp, and just for kicks, I'll show you it works. Of course it works. Now it's off, now it's back on. Okay, well, I hope you learned something on this video. What am I going to show next time? Well, it might be this. Let's take you over here really quick. I've got this on my honey-do list, and we've got some lights in a closet over here. Let's see here, we'll turn this on. Oh, come on. You see that every once in a while this fluorescent bulb will light, and then other times it won't. I'm going to turn it off and back on. You see how it flickered there? Come on. Sometimes it takes a while for it to heat up. See how it's orange on the end? There you go. Now see, that bulb, I believe that bulb is going out, and there's another one up here in this closet right here. That's kind of slick though how they did that, because that gives you lots of light in your closet. See how much light you got in the closet? Yeah. So I'm going to have to take that cover off, and I'm going to have to take the bulb out. I want to do that first before I go to the hardware store, because there's different lengths of bulbs, the ends. There's different pins on the ends, or it might just be a one single stud that one side pushes in, the other side doesn't, let's say. And so then that will determine what kind of bulb to get. So I've got to get up there, check that out, and all that. That'll be on another video. Now, will that fix it? I'm hoping that's going to fix it, but on light fixtures like this is a fluorescent light fixture. It could be that the ballast is ready to fail, and there's a black ballast in there. So my first objection is to replace those bulbs. When I come back here and replace the bulbs, if I still have problems with this, issues with this light fixture, I might replace the ballast in here rather than replace the whole light fixture. I mean, you could replace the whole light fixture and get a whole new cover and all that with the new ballast in there, and they don't cost that much more. But if you want to get the ballast, you've got to take the ballast out of this one and take that to the hardware store so that you can match up the ballast like for like, because there's lots of different types. Will one ballast work on all light fixtures? Of course not. Okay, that'll be on another video. Watch for it. Well, that's all I got for this time, but I'll be back with more videos.